This is Keep It Electric with Tremayne Person, episode 40. At the time of this recording, it is Tuesday, July the 2nd. The first place Seattle Mariners have a 3-game lead over the Houston Astros in the AL West. Houston is aggressively gaining ground on the Mariners right now. They've won 9 out of their last 10, while the Mariners have won 3 out of their last 10. Having just wrapped up a 3-game set with the Minnesota Twins, we saw them lose another 2 out of 3. Everything that we thought could go wrong did go wrong. They took the first game in extras, then proceeded to lose the next 2. This was definitely going to be a hard series to win, especially when you only score 7 runs in 3 games. So this kind of outcome shouldn't really be much of a surprise. Now, I will say, just as much as another person, what matters most is what you put in the win column. At the same time here, the series was very tight. It was much tighter than what the win-loss column would suggest. The Mariners continue to play a very dangerous game. The best starting pitching in the league complemented with the worst hitting in the league. So the hill we chose to die on was, I don't know, being at bat, being in the batter's box. I'm not really sure where I was going with that, but I am also running out of ways to say that the team can't hit. It's kind of the same thing. It's just been going on for a while now. It might be driving me a little crazy because how many different ways can I say that this team needs a bat? I got a text on Sunday from a member in one of my fantasy baseball chats asking if Luis Castillo was a two-way player. I'm sure he was joking here, but to add context to the timing of this text message, I'm assuming he was randomly tuning in to the game this Sunday and watched Luis Castillo strike out. Mitch Garver was hit by a pitch in the second inning, took a ball flush on his right throwing wrist. X-rays were negative, by the way, so we can consider him day-to-day, which is a relief. But the Mariners lost the designated hitter position in this game because Kyle Riley, who was then DHing at the beginning of the game, had to slide in at the catcher role as a result of Garver getting hit and having to leave the game. Thus now, pitchers have to bat for the rest of the game via the DH rule. But back to Castillo. You know, they didn't take any risk with him swinging or doing anything stupid there, and I have respect for that. But then again, the Mariners are hitting .218. The worst batting average in the league. I mean, why not just give a pitcher a bat and just see if some magic can happen? A lot of missed opportunities in this set. Mariners aren't really going to get, it's not going to get any better for them with the next team that's rolling into town. Here come the baby birds. The Baltimore Orioles, and this is always an exciting time for me. This is my moment to tell the city of Baltimore how overrated their crab cakes are in comparison to crab cakes here in Seattle. Don't get me wrong. You might be leading the league in home runs, but I can tell you what you're not doing. You're not leading the league in delicious crab cakes. Your runny crab nachos. You ought to be ashamed of yourself, Baltimore. You could do better. I wish that could automatically give Seattle a dub, but no. This series is most likely going to be a serious gut check. Some of the most dangerous bats in the league are rolling into Seattle for a 3-game set during the 4th of July holiday, and they will not hold back on creating their own fireworks. We're limping into a series that could easily be touted as a potential postseason matchup, and we will for sure learn where we stand while facing Baltimore. I know I'm not the only person who could say that that we have a real chance at winning the AL West division, but getting past Baltimore in the postseason doesn't seem possible with the way our lineup is currently constructed. And for those of you who may think that there may be some holes in the pitching here in Baltimore, there's not. You're wrong. They have the 3rd best ERA in all of Major League Baseball. We have the 6th. So on paper, they truly are just the better team. I'm going to leave it at that because this kind of leads us right back into trade talks and how do the Mariners get better quickly. It's been reported that the front office has already began conversations with numerous teams around the league in attempts to acquire an everyday bat and even bullpen help. As you may already remember, Matt Brash is out for the season with Tommy John. Spire is still on the injured list. Gregory Santos is throwing again, but still a long road ahead for his return. Ryan Stanek has looked very good at times, but he and Munoz, they can't do it all themselves. So there is definitely the possibility for multiple moves. By the way, Tim Anderson just got DFA'd by the Marlins moments ago. Some would say they are, surprised the Marlins couldn't get anything for him. I hate to say this, but an organization like the Mariners might be chomping at the bit for the bargain that is Tim Anderson. He's hitting .214. That's right at our team average. I mean, don't get me wrong, and don't be surprised if they do try to snag him and option him to AAA to see what he's got. But more seriously here, as we look into players that could make an immediate splash, in the last episode, we explored Luis Robert Jr. a little bit, and I still feel like that's a player the Mariners organization still feels strongly about. Pete Alonso, first baseman for the New York Mets, was another name that was used strongly as a good fit, but the Mets have been on a tear recently, so many believe that he's off the table. That turns our sights to another name that I really like in this one, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. When his name was first mentioned, I heard a lot of people dismissing it, saying that he's trending down. That was about a month or so ago. Well, at this time, he was just named American League Player of the Week after hitting .500 all week long, 13 of 26, 4 home runs, 17 ribbies, and an OPS over 1,000. So, yeah, I think the Mariners could use that. 17 ribbies, talk about situational hitting. Yeah, I think we could use that. The Blue Jays time and time again have dispelled any and all rumors that they do not want to move away from him. With him performing like that, I could see why. It seems that majority of teams interested in him believe that if they have an offer for him, and believe me, I think any team that wants him better be prepared to come correct with an offer that will make their front office jump out of bed. But the right offer on the table, teams believe that the Blue Jays will bite. Vladdy does come with one more year left of contract control before becoming an unrestricted free agent, and he's already an expensive bet, but you get what you pay for when it comes to one of his caliber. He's a career .280 batter. Last year was the first season he didn't hit 30 home runs out of the last 3 years, but he's a guy that will flirt with 30-plus homers and 100 ribbies every year. He's the guy you always want at bat when there's runners on base. Ladies and gentlemen, he is without a doubt a solution to many of our offensive struggles. Now, we've done deals before with Toronto, but I don't think we land this guy without giving up some elite prospects. I don't see this deal being made without Cole Young or Harry Ford on the table. Probably Cole Young, knowing the Blue Jays will eventually part ways with Bo Bichette as well. And they are sure going to want an arm. I'd hate for us to lose any of our starting pitchers, especially the ones on the main roster. So I could see us offering Emerson Hancock. I could also see Toronto trying to squeeze out Logan Gilbert, Brian Wu, or Bryce Miller. I just don't think that we're going to bite on something like that. Needless to say, if a move gets made for Vladdy, I would be thrilled. That's for sure. The next question, though, what would you do with Ty France? Honestly, I'm a big fan of Ty France. I think he's great for our ball club, but we're landing Vladdy, right? So who cares? I mean, one could be a DH, the other could, play first base. They could rotate them both. Also, Ty France could be included in the trade. Back in 2022, they were both at the All-Star game. So, if we could get that version of both of them in the second half of this season, I would think that'd be a key to a World Series run. So come on over, Vladdy, hypothetically speaking, as we really don't know. Honestly, the odds of Seattle landing him are probably pretty slim. Moving on to tonight and back to the M's taking on the Baby Birds, get your popcorn ready because two elite arms are going at it tonight to open the 3-game set. Grayson Rodriguez, a powerful arm, takes the mound for the Orioles. The Mariners have only logged 24 career at-bats against Grayson Rodriguez. They're hitting 125 and they've struck out 10 times. The dude is very, very, very good. He throws his four-seamer 47% of the time at an average of 96 miles per hour. The Mariners for sure will be trying to lock in on that fastball. The problem is Grayson pairs his fastball really well with his changeup at 83. The Mariners lineup, they're just going to have to stay on their toes when facing him. George Kirby will be taking the mound for Seattle. He's got a career record of 1-3 with one no decision against the O's. His last win came May 31st of 2022 against Baltimore. So when facing them earlier this year, he struck out 3 and allowed 5 earned runs in 6 innings of pitching. That was in Baltimore. So he does have an ERA of 2.34 at home this year. So hopefully he can get back into the win column. After this series, it's the Blue Invasion. So we got that to look forward to. That's going to be a fun topic. First, we have bad crab cakes, and then in comes ketchup chips. So I guess it just kind of is what it is. Stay tuned for the next episode. Until then, keep it electric. Go Mariners.